you ever wondered what truly drives someone to change their life? It's not a motivational book, a pricey course, or a sudden epiphany in the middle of a sleepless night. Real change is the quiet result of small, consistent principles practiced every single day. This journey isn't for those chasing instant results. It's for those who are willing to stick with the right actions, however small, for long enough to create irreversible transformation. If you're standing at a crossroads, craving a fresh start, seeking a deeper, more intentional and focused life, this is the roadmap you've been looking for. The journey of self-growth is guided by 7 foundational principles that serve as a compass for meaningful and lasting personal development. These rules don't promise miracles, but they do offer direction, one step at a time, through seemingly ordinary days that hold the power to change your destiny. The first principle is, true motivation comes from within. Every lasting change begins with an internal fire. You can watch hundreds of motivational videos, listen to passionate speeches, or read advice from successful people, but unless your heart is ready, all external influences are fleeting. Real motivation doesn't come from the rush of hype or peak moments. It comes from a quiet realization when you confront yourself and see that if something doesn't change, life will remain stuck, or worse. That's when you flip the internal switch, not to impress anyone else, but to save yourself. This moment can come after a major setback, like losing a job, or in a quiet afternoon when you look in the mirror and ask, is this really how I want to live? That inner fire doesn't explode like fireworks. It burns steadily, persistently, just enough to carry you through hard days. Psychology calls this intrinsic motivation, and it's completely different from motivation based on rewards or recognition. When you find your own reason, whether it's to be healthier, to be a role model for your kids, or simply to live without regrets, you'll find the strength to overcome anything. The takeaway here is, listen to the voice inside you, identify your reason for change, and let it guide you like a torch through the dark. The next principle is, personal growth is a long-term investment. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, 10-minute food delivery, same-day lab results, we often forget that the most meaningful things in life can't be rushed. Personal development isn't a quick transaction, it's a long-term investment that demands patience and discipline. You can't sleep less to grow faster, and you can't fast forward through life's lessons. Calmness doesn't come from reading a book on meditation for a week, and confidence doesn't show up after a few gym sessions. What truly changes you are the small, intentional actions you repeat for years. Think about learning a new language. One word a day may feel trivial, but after 5 years, you might speak fluently. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." These small acts, journaling, deep breathing, or simply saying thank you, build a new version of you, not through leaps, but through quiet accumulation. The lesson here is, choose one small action you can stick with and make it a non-negotiable part of your life. That consistency will shape who you become. The third principle is, identity matters more than goals. Many people fail to grow because they focus too much on setting goals and not enough on shaping their identity. Goals like read 30 books a year or lose 20 pounds are fine, but without a strong sense of who you are, they can feel like a burden. Identity, the way you see yourself, is the foundation of sustainable change. If you see yourself as a knowledge seeker, reading isn't a task, it's part of who you are. If you see yourself as someone who values health, then working out and eating well becomes second nature. Psychologist James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, emphasizes that behavior change begins with changing your beliefs about yourself. Ask yourself, who do I want to become? A patient person, a creative person, someone others can count on. Once your identity is clear, your actions will naturally align. For example, someone who identifies as a writer will write every day, not because they have to, but because it's how they live. This principle teaches us that self-development isn't about doing to have, it's about becoming to live. Start by declaring the identity you want to grow into, and let every action you take be a reflection of that person. The fourth principle reminds us that progress isn't linear, but it must be consistent. The journey of self-development is never a straight line. There will be days when you're full of energy, learning with passion, and feel like you're getting closer to your best self. But there will also be days when you're exhausted, filled with doubt, and see no visible results. That's completely normal. Progress looks more like a zigzag path with peaks and valleys. What matters is that you don't stop. Consistency, the ability to keep moving forward, even if it's just a small step, is what makes the real difference. Think of someone training for a marathon. They don't become an athlete after one run, but through months of showing up, no matter the weather or their mood. Behavioral psychology shows that consistency builds habits, and habits are the foundation of long-term success. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself that even a small action today, reading one page or taking 5 deep breaths, is still progress. This principle encourages you to embrace the tough days as part of the journey and trust that as long as you keep going, you're on the right path. The fifth principle speaks to the power of compounding and repetition. One of the biggest secrets to personal growth is compound interest. If you improve just 1% a day, by the end of the year, you're not just a little better, you're nearly 38 times better than where you started. That may sound magical, but it's simply the result of steady repetition. A small act, 5 minutes of meditation, 10 pages of reading, or writing a short journal entry might seem insignificant in a single day, but repeated over 365 days, it can create a completely new version of you. Tiny habits, when sustained, don't just add up, they multiply. The mathematician Archimedes once said, "Give me a lever and a place to stand, and I will move the world." In personal growth, your habits are the lever, and repetition is the place you stand. The takeaway here is, don't underestimate small actions and focus on doing them regularly rather than doing them all at once. A small act, done daily, has the power to transform your entire life. Next comes the sixth principle. Every positive change creates a domino effect. Every positive shift, no matter how small, has the potential to trigger a ripple effect. One good decision, like going to bed earlier, can lead to many others. Waking up early, having time to read, starting the day feeling calm, reducing stress, and becoming more patient in your relationships. We often underestimate the power of a single step, but if you choose the right starting point, it can redirect the course of your entire life. For example, someone who commits to 10 minutes of morning yoga doesn't just improve their physical health, they also find mental clarity, which leads to better decisions at work and in life. This domino effect happens because all areas of our lives are interconnected. Psychology calls this the spillover effect. When progress in one area, like health, influences others, like mood or productivity. This principle reminds you to start with what you can control: a positive habit, a mindset shift, or a kind action. Pick one domino and watch it set off a chain reaction of positive changes in your life. The seventh principle, and perhaps the deepest one, is that self-development isn't about becoming someone else, it's about becoming more yourself. The true essence of personal growth isn't to become impressive or successful on the outside, it's to return to your most authentic self. Many people mistakenly believe that self-improvement is about achieving external success, making more money, becoming well-known, or surpassing others. But the real meaning lies in shedding what doesn't belong to you. Fear, social expectations, past wounds. When you let go of those burdens, you don't just become freer, you begin to grow in the most honest way possible. Think of a bonsai tree. To thrive beautifully, it needs to be trimmed of excess branches, yet its natural form remains intact. In the same way, self-development is the process of removing what's unnecessary so you can live aligned with who you truly are. When you do this, you no longer need to prove yourself or compete. You grow because it's the most fulfilling way to live. The philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you." This principle teaches us that the ultimate goal of self-growth is sincerity, to live without pretending, without comparing, and to be fully present in your own truth. And finally, the journey of self-development has no finish line. You will never be complete, and there's no final state of having arrived. What exists is movement, day by day, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that you're living a meaningful life. Don't get lured by flashy promises of 30-day transformations or short-term challenges. Choose the long road, the one of discipline, authenticity, and values that can't be bought. Be the one who plants seeds every day, not for applause, but because you believe a forest will grow. If you find these principles helpful, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Where are you now? What might be missing? And where could you begin? Sometimes, one right step is all it takes to shift your whole direction. And if you need a final reminder, remember this: be patient with yourself. Big change always begins with quiet action. You deserve to become your best self, not to impress others, but to live every moment of this life fully. I hope you found this video helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit the like button. It might seem like a small thing, but because of how the YouTube algorithm works, videos with more likes tend to get shown to more people. So your like really helps this video reach others who might need it too. And if you find my content valuable, consider subscribing. It really helps more people discover it. Thanks for watching, and I wish you and your family good health, and peace. See you in the next video.